Hey guys, what's up? I got a huge mess here. I need to clean some of it up. I need to make some room. So today we're going to be taking apart this Anet A8 Plus. And as you can see, when I remove the glass bed here, it is pretty dirty from all the dust, which means I haven't been using it much lately anyway, because I have all these other printers just kind of scattered around here. And I can fit two normal size printers in the space of this printer. So you will be seeing that Anet ET5, that other large printer from Anet, taking its place, but disassembling this is going to save me some room. I'm just going to set this glass bed to the side here, so that's the only part I'm really worried about getting broken. And then we're just going to take this down piece by piece and slowly disassemble it. It came partially assembled, so I'm not sure how some of it comes apart, but it's a learning experience. I think let's take the gantry out first, because I know that was one of the last things to go on. So, this side. I do have a box down here of, I'll show it to you before it gets too full, of random 3D print stuff. And I have a bunch of bags right here for nuts and bolts and screws and such. And I am kind of just going about this cattywampus and taking off things willy-nilly, but probably should be an order to this. Like I said, I decided I'm going to take the gantry off first, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on when I do it. So we'll put nuts and bolts in there. We'll set that plate there for now. Fix some problems I'm having here causing some latency. Should help, give you a second. Remove that guide rod. Okay. Alright, it looks like my stream cut out there for a minute. I'm going to let those people, hopefully those people come back. Give me just 1 minute, we'll get right back to this. Today we are taking apart an Anet A8 Plus. I keep wanting to call this an ET4. It is not an ET4, so if I say that, forgive me. This is an A8 Plus. I'm going to get right back to it here in just 1 second. let's get back to it. So, whoops, I'm dropping stuff. So I can take the spool off there. I don't know why I left that on there. And then we took the top of the gantry off. I'm going to take out these, put them in my bag of nuts and bolts. Where did that go? I seem to have lost everything. Should just wiggle right out. That'll go down into my box here. As will the handle once I get the rest of the pieces out. There it is. Let's keep that up here. There's one I missed there. Put those in here. Handle can be taken apart a little bit more. We'll deal with that in a minute. So now, let's disconnect the hot end here. It's not going to come off right there. Duh. Pull that off too. Alright, that takes too long. Let's cheat again. Too big. This is what happens when you collect too many 3D printers. You end up with a million wrenches. Or keys, whatever you want to call them. Makes it a pain to find the right size. Don't want to pull that grub screw all the way out because they don't want to lose it. Oop. And I don't want to bend the connector either, so pull this. Second one's still holding it on. Which means I missed this one too. Alright, now box. That goes in the box. There we go. Get a good look at this guy so we can get it unmounted here. Disassemble that whole thing. So the belt's the only thing holding this piece on here. So let's remove that piece. Basically just a nut back here that's locked in place by the plastic, and when I remove this the wheel should fall out, so I'm holding on to the nut and the belt as I unscrew it here. Almost, there we go. Pull the two parts of the bearing out. I need to get the nut out of there too, but it doesn't seem to be coming out. It'll probably fall out later. Put the hardware back in. Kind of thought that would just come right off. Apparently not though. Seem to be fastened in any other way. Alright, well, let's at least get this undone so we can get those cords unhooked in there. On there very tight. That's comforting. Let's remove this and stop here. Not sure. I don't really want to take any of the other machines apart, but I may. We'll see how much room I get after I'm done with this guy here and what I can do with that room, but it's getting kind of cramped in here. Not sure that's moving at all on the back side of that. You come back here. Alright, now I think I got one more bigger one up here. I think if I can wiggle this loose, there we go. Now, fun begins. I'm just going to disconnect everything. I don't really have any reason to worry about keeping any of it plugged in. Then we can finally start getting some of the components off so we can get down to the frame and reduce that down to nothing, because that's where I want to be at with this thing. I don't want to have anything left other than components in a box. It's nothing against the machine. Like I said, I just need the room. And I think, this being a larger machine that I don't use often enough, and Anet just sent me that lovely new ET5, that this is the best candidate for unprintering. Give you a look at this board here in a second. It is actually an Anet branded board, which means they make the board and put their name on it, which not even Creality does that most of the time. I think that's, oh, I missed one. Alright, so here's the board. Since this is one of the more fragile parts, I am going to set it aside and not just toss it into the box with the other pieces, but we'll deal with that a little bit later here. We aren't going to need this piece of the case. We're going to pull these through gently, making sure we don't pull off any of the connectors. There we go. Now, cables on this guy should be free. Part might not be willing to come apart. Fan. Other fan. Alright, obviously none of this is going to go anywhere. With this guy still on, so What's up? Yeah, no, I'm actually, that's why the title says Unprintering. I'm taking this guy apart. I need room for other stuff. And as you can see, it's in short supply at the moment. If you could see my floor, it's like covered with components in little baggies, like a baggie of nozzles, there's a bag of hot ends, there's a pile of motors, there's a baggie of thermistors, the rod type, and a separate baggie of the glass bead type, and I got everything just kind of all sprawled out right now so I can put these components in their proper place. Most of the frame's going to go into this box I got down here. That'll be alright. It's already got some 20 by 40 and 20 by 20 extrusion pieces in it. It looks like that's that. I don't want to tangle it any further. There we go, almost there. Probably quicker to go from this end now. Alright, now all my cords are free. So now, clip the zip tie. And remove my pieces. So I have these two unhooked, and that's one of my motor cords. We'll set these guys right here for now. And alright, so this is the hot end thermistor wire. Let's disconnect this. No reason to be connected at all these points. Disconnect this motor. Disconnect the end stop. Now, let's see. Let's take that belt out of there. And it's really locked in there good. That's a good belt locking mechanism. Dropped the nut back here. Probably not going to be putting this back together anytime soon. I want to hang on to the components. I do have another machine that is this exact same machine. I just ran out of room for that one too, so I had my brother come and take it for a while. Told him he could just use it while he was storing it for me. He's got a couple of my other machines too, but I don't really think he wants me to fill his house up with 20 printers, so in there snug. These work really well. Alright, so the belt, there's the belt bag. Put that over there. Now we have, where's this mounted? Well, let's remove the extruder. Can always use another extruder, right? This one is direct drive. It feeds right into the actual hot end itself, so this should allow us to remove both pieces and we can get a good look at it. I know this is kind of tedious, but it's kind of fun. I haven't taken this all the way down. I've messed with the hot end and replaced the throat, and I've done quite a bit of printing with it. It works just fine, but it is interesting sometimes to see how things are put together behind the closed doors. Normally when I take off an extruder, springs go flying everywhere. I just put tension release on it. Where's the main? I think it's held by this one mostly. I know you probably can't see crap either, huh? Whoops. Yep, there goes the motor. There's a plate there that's holding the hot end in place. So, wow. Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Here, take the end stops off first. And this guy. I'm going to, of course, go back and take all the belt pulleys and things like that off later. For right now, let's get the bulk of this machine out of the way. Right, there's another motor. Not quite sure how to get that apart. I have to find a way, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's get another bag for these other little components here. Set that over there because we don't seem to be using it as often. Another bag just for the bed springs and screws and wheels. Yeah, V-slot is way easier to get the carriage off, that's for sure. Like, you would think that, I thought that the belt was holding the tension on there and holding it together, but it's obviously not the only game in town. Let's get that back in there. We have the massive bed plate. It still has a protective film on it. And I'm not sure if that had any effect on my use of it at all, to be honest. But we'll set that in the box for now. And let's see what else we got here. Alright, I think we can take the bottom off now. So let's deal with this crazy wing nut down here. Wing nut. Hardware. Washers, and I don't want to do that. Okay. Got him. Alright. Into the hardware bag you go. And I dropped another one, didn't I? Uh-oh. Well, we'll find it. And then I got these guys that are zip tied onto the y-axis. So clip those off. And that goes in the belt bag. Alright. Another end stop here. Disconnect it. Like I said, I'm probably not putting this back together in the way that it's meant to be. I'll use the pieces in something else if I use them. I will. Otherwise, if I was going to be putting it back together, I would be using a lot of different bags and labeling everything, so I knew what goes where instead of just, oh, dig through this screw for what fits into the end stop. For, you know, obviously that makes no sense to do. So, I do like these Phillips head. See, now we're onto the V slot. I like these Phillips heads that go into the V slot here. Well, I was going to say because they have V-slot locking nuts and a Phillips head, but that's not true. These go into the frame, which I guess makes sense because you want this to be squared up, so you want that to be in a specific place. The part, however, this part is 3D printed, you can tell. Probably rather quickly as well, judging from the layer height. Rest of them out. Oh, I didn't get a new Ender 3 either. I have a couple other printers coming, and one's still sitting around here in a box somewhere. And no room to put it up. And I gotta put it up, so I gotta do a review, and I can't do a review if I don't have a printer to review, right? Alright, so there is the y-axis. Let's set that down there because we'll probably get the bearings out of there later. Plastic caps are gonna go in there. Accessories bag. These are gonna go here. And on to the next step. So let's take off the power supply. That actually looks pretty easy. If I can get the right wrench. Right out. Ooh, cables. That'll go in the cables bag. I have to get this last one unbound here so I can get cables the rest of the way off of the power supply. Let's get this hardware out. Uh-oh, sounds like my kids are in trouble. Mom's gonna get them. All I know is I didn't do it. I'm just taking the bracket off the back of the power supply now, so. Caught it. You have to grab a flathead for this. See me dodging my mess here. That's better. Obviously, I don't want to take these screws all the way out, so I'll leave them with the power supply down the road. We'll put that in there. And put that in a different place for cables. Don't need to remove the switch. We'll leave that where it is. Let's do Z motors.
Z motors.
We can probably unplug that. Let's see. This will end up in a separate box as well. That wasn't very square, was it? For those of you complaining that you can't see what I'm doing, don't worry, neither can I. Another end stop over here we need to remove. Screen, of course. Those cables we'll want to keep with us. We'll put them in the cables pile. They're labeled. Put that down there. And we'll definitely take this part off though, right? Look at all this room I'm gonna have. Yeah, right. It won't last, trust me. Alright, so there's that. Get those off of that side. I mean, it's a nice printer. It's, like I said, I do have another one. I have it loaned out to my brother. This guy is huge. But they sent me an ET5, which is over there, which when I'm done is going to go in this thing's place. So it is just as big, in fact, a little bit taller, I believe. And I've been using it a lot more lately. If I could just stop dropping stuff, that would be great. Not likely, though. This one's almost completely disassembled. Then I'll show you my mess spread out on the floor here. And we'll start putting things away properly. And then I'll pull that ET5 over here. Pretty well printed part, holding the y-axis on if the screw has to be threaded through it perfectly. Like, there's a little bit of wobble, but I can't just yank it out. It has to be twisted. Pretty decent print job. Alright, so let's get all the pieces that might fall off and hit my head off of here real quick. And do with the wrench I just had. There it is. That's the last motor. That's the last cable. Wrench. Thing. I've actually had really good luck with Anet printers. My experience with them has always been pleasant. They've always worked pretty well. Anytime I've had a problem, it was relatively easy to fix. That can go in there. Brackets, brackets everywhere. Take off these giant rubber wheels that are almost too grippy. They work really well. So, for rubber feet, and a partridge in a pear tree. Now it's just a square frame here. I'm gonna need more leverage, I guess. Come on, out of there. There we go. Another piece. And there it is. Alright, now we're down to components. We need to take apart some of these guys and get some of the pieces off. I thought one of those had an end stop on it. Still didn't take it off. I believe I did. Let's put that in its case here. Alright, so more brackets. Well, now that I don't have the giant printer in the way, let's slide this over. We'll bring the camera in here for a little bit better view of what's going on. Now you can see my mess in all its glory. Alright, so we got to keep taking components off of here, and we got to get them put in the right place. So we will do that. All I'm doing right now is removing this motor. In fact, I'm going to remove this pulley real quick. It's getting in my way. Brackets, hardware, bracket. Let's see that hot end again. And we're going to go ahead and pull the thermistor and the temperature probe and the heating elements. If I can find a Allen key that's small enough, that is. There should be one there. I think. Nope, still too big. Oh, we dropped the hot end. Okay, here's the smallest one I have. There we go. So this is actually two separate cables, and I think I can just leave them together how they are. But I'm going to coil them up here and put them with some other ones I have. It looks like the rest of this can go in with the hot ends. So let's take a look. I have another hot end that I need to remove the pieces from here. This guy was off a printer that I built. Switch to the Phillips head for this guy. We'll get the pieces off. This is a piece of Capricorn tube that I definitely want to save. It's just a regular fitting. We'll take that, and I have a whole baggie full of Bowden tube here that we will throw that into. Motor is now ready. I also have a couple other motors I need to remove pieces from, which we'll do in a minute. And if you want to see, we can actually put the hot end back in there. This is the bag I keep the hot ends in. This is actually off the Tevo. We'll take the cables off of that guy too, but let's get this fan off first. Oh no, you know what? We want to keep that fan on there because this actually pops right off. leave that screwed on. We'll just pull this guy. Get the cable. Put that with the other fans we've collected. And we're going to do the same thing here for pulling the thermistor and the heating element. We got those. And let's get the rest of this out of here. This is off of a printer that I built. And it worked out right, but I needed room. It's actually a really nice print. We don't need that. That's not a part of anything. Okay, so here you have the coupler, the hot end. This is the radiator or heatsink, and then the throat on this guy is in between there. We'll put that in the bag with the hot ends, and we'll get the thermistor and heat cartridge out of the Tarantula hot end while we're here too, which is a little bit different, as you can see. It's got a more inline heatsink, and everything is vertical. Let's get in here and get this. Don't need to loosen that all the way. That plate is just kind of holding it in there. Let's take that off, pull the thermistor out, and then put the holder back in. This one's a little bit tougher to get out of here. Might have to remove the heatsink altogether, but we'll find out just a second here. Yeah, it looks that way. So, more grub screws on the back. Once that's out, we can slide it out. It's still too tight, huh? Man, they don't want to come out. There we go. Jeez, that was an ordeal. Put this back together just so the hot end stays with its intended components. This is what's referred to as a volcano hot end. So Alright, now let me get this bag here. And I have in it a bunch of zip ties that I'm going to remove. Put in another bag, because this bag also has something else in it. Maybe I'll put zip ties in here. Jeez. Go in your home. Should have got a bigger bag. Yep, I put a hole in it. Okay, well, we'll deal with that in a little bit. So these are more temperature sensors. Now, I have two of these. These are 12 volt. These red ones here, I believe, are 24. Although, I guess it would depend on the machine that it comes off of. But we're going to coil these up just like those ones. And put them all together. As you can see, we've got 3 sets here, and I don't foresee myself using these anytime immediately in the near future, so we're just going to coil them up together and then probably zip tie them so they store a little easier. So I have them all coiled up here. We'll use them zip ties that just made me mad a minute ago. Snip, snip. Yeah, how many snips does it take to get through a zip tie? Alright, so put those in our bag with the other ones and set that here. That's pretty well dealt with. Get all our wrenches out, got a nice big mess. Let's take this piece and deal with some of these geared wheel pieces. Yeah, no, I know, I shouldn't be complaining. You'll notice I never said I had too many printers. I said I don't have enough room. There's a big difference. You never have too many printers. Just ask my wife. She puts up with the noise all the time. And she says she still loves me. Some days I get looks, though. It's probably questionable at best. She's so far maintained her sanity, though, so I guess I gotta give her props for not murdering me and throwing my printers out a long time ago, right? Though luckily some of these machines are super quiet. That's another reason I chose the A8 Plus for Unprintering. Like I said, it is a really nice machine, but it is probably the single loudest machine that I've owned. And I literally didn't need that noise. Especially when the ET5 that they sent me is just so quiet compared to it that it's like, yeah, I don't get it. That's dual Z2 and very, very similar. It's got to be the board or the ramps. Alright, another motor for the graveyard. Put that one in there too. Their end stop. Let's get that off there while I'm looking at it. I knew there was one more. Too many wrenches. That can go in big old components bag. That can go in the box. more. Too big. Need the baby one. Another one. Yeah, this particular wrench, this came with my first Ender 3 Pro, and I can tell because the end of it is like covered in some black stuff I can't get off. But the end of it, that end, is meant to be balled, a little bit rounded, so you can put it in and still drive it from certain angles, which is great, but after a while it becomes impossible to turn it at all because it slowly just rounds it off more and more, and you're left with a little nub there, which doesn't really work on much of anything. Brackets. It's like super oily. I don't know what that is. It's gross. Another motor. That's number 5 off of this machine. So I have all these pieces I need to put into a bag. Okay, bracket. I think all of these will fit in here. Magnetic. Alright. What else we got? Let's take a look at some of these fans. And ooh, actually, I just noticed that I have another bag right here that's got some pulleys and stuff in it. So let's just go ahead and tuck that in there for now. Let's set that aside. And now we're looking at fans. So 1 fan, 2 fan, red fan, blue fan. Okay. Basically going to do the same thing we did, except without the zip tie here. I'm just going to wind it around, and we will tuck all these into a separate bag. We use this one. Kind of keep it secret, keep it safe, right? Okay, so that's there. Keep it safe as I slam it down. All these cables, need to finish getting this off of here. And we'll save that because we do want it. Let's see here. So a lot of my motor cables are just kind of jammed in this bag here, and I'm going to continue to do that with these ones. It's a mess. Don't ask. Don't tell. Don't want to hear about it. It's the one thing I can't stand is like cable management, I guess. I try. But when it's not on the machine, I'm going to have to get a different bag for those. We had a couple of belts we gotta deal with, so that's one. Where'd the other one go? There it is. Still got zip ties on it. Let's cut those off. Already off the other end, okay. Put these in the bag of belts. Throw away some of these zip ties in the garbage. More cords and cables, cords and cables, cords and cables. Alright, so, yep, I know I'm standing in the light, my bad. Well, let's deal with those cords and cables. Let's get this guy. So, I do gotta unwind the rest of these, which is going to take a minute. So, I think we'll put all 4 of these into one bag and unwind them later. If I can get them to fit. Go in your home. Oh yeah, you're doing it. You're going in there. There you go. Alright. So, I win. Haha. Alright. Look at that. Perfect. Let's get another big bag here. Preferably bigger than that, because I got a lot of... Nope, it's going to be difficult. Okay. I'm going to be really cheap here then. And we're going to do this way. This is not, by the way, the only selection of these cables I have. This is just used ones. I have a whole box of them, so that's one of the reasons I maybe shouldn't have ordered those in bulk. That was a lot simpler. Okay, so we've got that. This guy, the Y-axis, that's going to have to go in the bucket. It is huge. Takes up a lot of room. Drop that in back there. And we still have this guy that I can't get apart. If anybody knows how to get this apart, feel free to shout it out. There are some little brass pieces in here that aren't in this side, but I don't see any way to unfasten them if that's what they indeed are. Maybe, actually maybe. Oh, there is a really, really tiny grub screw in there. I just couldn't see it in the bottom. Well, alright. That's a bonus. Now does it come out? Doesn't look that way. And this one doesn't have any, and this side still won't come out. Interesting. Alright, well, into the box. Oh, it won't fit in the box. Well, fail on that side then. Let's take a look at some of these other components. So I do have some more mess over here. One of the things you didn't see was my extruders. I do have an extruder here. This is actually a leveling mechanism. Oop. It's an auto leveling mechanism right here for the ET4. This is an auto leveling mechanism for the flsun Q5 Delta back there. There's some other little bags I need to pick up and put away. Have some extruder hardware. Some other stuff in here. Ooh, a belt. This needs to go in the belt bag. I get too excited. Some other wrenches and stuff in here that I need to pick up and put away. Couplers for Bowden tubes. Extra nozzle. Got a whole baggie. Now there's a bunch of used nozzles in there, but there's a whole bag of different sizes of different kinds of nozzles. Put this guy in. Oh, I was prying on it pretty hard. There's nothing else to loosen in there. It's kind of aggravating, really. BL Touch. This is actually sent to me by one of my Patreon supporters. You should check me out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Technivorous. We're always looking for new donors so we can get new stuff for the channel. This is some really hardcore, nice set of springs and screws for a bed. So now that I have all of this stuff pretty much in one place, oh, there's a couple more motors and end stops I need to take off. Okay. This is another part of that printer I was telling you about that I built here. Let me make sure you can see it. Yep, there it is. And like I said, it was never fantastic. So let's get the pieces out of here. And yes, at this point, I'm just doing some cleanup. I don't know. I haven't decided if we're going to unprinter another printer yet or not, but we may. Here. And before we're done, I want to show you this giant box of printer parts over here as well. Save that. Linear rods. End stop. I don't think either of these is screwed in. Should come right off. Do want this V-slot rail. So we'll take that. This motor. And I just gotta get it out. Well, apparently this one wants to stay in there. Well, I'm not going to struggle with it. We'll deal with that at another time. Let's get this other end stop out of here. La-di-da. Like I said, kind of monotonous, but had to be done. Taking all this stuff apart, making room. And we got a bunch of new parts to play with if we want, so that's a plus too. Alright, this I can take later. That's hot ends. Let's get this last piece off of here. Alright, so I have a box here that I fill quite generally with 3D printing stuff. So we have the hot ends, the cabling, the bolts, the fans, the belts. Pieces and brackets are going to go in the box with the other parts. And so is this easy ABL, actually. That we can get away. Some end stops we need to find a bag for. Wheels that can go with our other wheel set. Tools that can stay. Zip ties because they always come in handy. We'll throw away these pieces. And this guy. I'm going to have to set over here with this super long lead screw that I have that doesn't fit anywhere else. Until we find a way to crack that code. Got another motor on the floor, so we'll put that away. And some more random cables, so we'll deal with that in good time as well. But let's take a look at the box here, and as you can see, kind of, it is nice and full of 3D printer parts. We have the power supply, we got the motors, we have a whole ton of stuff in this box right here, as well as some closing tube and some other stuff. We're going to need that because I have pieces that need to go in there. And I'm going to go ahead and set this in here. You can see how much that little room that giant printer is now taking. Let's put that in there as well. And of the case and the board. So there's a lot more room over here now. And because of that, I promised you another look at the ET5. So let's slide these cables over here. I am going to clean up the rest of this mess in a minute. But I'll show you this giant beast, and you can tell me what you think about it here. Did do an unboxing video of this printer, and the test prints came out pretty sweet. So far, I am enjoying it quite a bit. As you can see, it is a rather large printer compared to some of my other beasts, and it is working out pretty well so far. So that's going to be it for this stream. We completely unprinted that printer, made myself a little bit of room, and now we can continue printing. So thanks for stopping by. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button, leave me a like. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see, and we will see you in the next one, guys.